On this episode of In the Fight, we see what it takes to execute a combat operation in Afghanistan. Soldiers are put through their paces to become members of the Afghan Special Forces. 19 countries take part in a multinational exercise known as Eager Lion. Progressive steps are being taken to change discrimination in Afghanistan. And an Afghan athlete prepares for the Summer Olympics. The execution of a combat operation can be a very stressful job for those who are tasked to run it. Marine Corporal Ed Gallo introduces us to a major in the Marine Corps who was tasked with executing the latest phase of Operation Jaws. He explains the process he went through in this report.
The Marines and sailors of Regimental Combat Team 6 and its subordinate battalions have been conducting Operation Jaws in the Helmand Province for 3 months.
I would describe Operation Jaws as Regimental Combat Team 6's bid for success in AO Tripoli, the area of responsibility that we have in northern Helmand Province of Afghanistan. Out in Washir, we don't really have enough people to garrison that full time, so it's a major safe haven for the Taliban. So we directed an operation, wrote up an operational plan to go after the insurgent network that was hiding out in the guest town valley of Washir.
Major Jonathan O'Gorman was tasked with executing the most recent phase of the operation, where Marines with Charlie Company, 1st Battalion, 8th Marine Regiment, cleared several villages of insurgents in the Gaston Valley in northern Helmand.
The Taliban are still talking about, the things we did up there and demanding that some of their commanders who now they see as incompetent get fired because they either fled the battle or didn't give them good enough advice, and the amount of insurgents that were killed was a huge morale blow to the insurgents that were left behind. So I would say it was a pretty big success.
The execution of an operation is no easy feat. Major O'Gorman had to manage more than 1,000 people in multiple units and different sections to ensure the success of the mission.
What we did from each section of the regiment, between admin, intel, operations, logistics, and communications, we pulled a lieutenant out of there with me in overall charge of it, and had to get up there a couple days early and kind of train to figure out how to be a battalion-like configuration.
Once the Marines started working together in the Combat Operations Center, they immediately went to work practicing efficient unit-to-unit communication in order to better control the mission. With all the planning that goes into operations, the Marines and sailors under the command of RCT-6 can operate with the knowledge that they are in good hands. Corporal Ed Gallo, Forward Operating Base, Dalaram 2, Afghanistan.
Special Forces emerged in the early 20th century with significant growth in the field during the Second World War. These special military units are trained to perform unconventional, often high-risk missions. NATO Channel correspondent Mel Preen brings us this story.
These men are nearing the finish line, having walked 3 kilometers through a river with 25 kilos on their backs, heaving a slab of concrete weighing 100 kilos. It's no wonder some lips are quivering. This is just one test commandos have to pass to join the Afghan National Army Special Forces.
First, they will be smart and then very strong.
When we're recruiting for the Special Forces, we're going to the Commando Battalion and we select recruit from the Commando Battalion.
If those people not have education, no good knowledge, they never can be a special force.
It's a 3-day selection process where 230 candidates battle it out to make the grade. Within the branches of the Afghan security forces, they don't come much more elite than special forces.
Special Force یک تیمش فعلا در یک ولسوالی که بسیار ناآرام است، در ولسوالی که در اونجا وضعیت تا اندازه خراب است که اردو و پلیس نتوانسته اونجا برن یا باقی بمانن. دیگه به خاطر از این یک تیم اسپیشال فورس این توانایی را پیدا میکنه از این تمرینات که در اونجا برن امیر رقم وظایف ثقیل انجام بدن و در ولسوالی امو ولسوالی را باثبات بسازن.
Every candidate is known by a number. Number 4 is being marked down as one of the stronger ones.
We have to be strong physically and mentally also. And mentally is very good in a special force. If a person doesn't have good mentally, he doesn't become a special force.
The Afghan commandos and special forces have recently been credited for killing hundreds of insurgents during operations in the east. Backed by the Afghan army, they'll be the ones doing much of the fighting once foreign combat troops leave in 2014. There's a feeling of confidence, but one Afghan trainer here says they need more international help to provide heavy weapons, helicopters and basic equipment. That's not much of a concern to these men right now. More immediate for them is getting through the Special Forces selection.
They can walk around 10, 20 kilometers with rucksack, with ammunition, any kind of the ammo. They can do that or not. We have to be sure they are really a strong man.
Mel Preen in Kabul, Afghanistan for the NATO channel.
Hello, this is Lance Corporal Jesus Mendoza from 2nd Battalion, 9th Marines. Wanted to give a shout out to my family and friends back in Escondido, California.
I'm Sergeant First Class Kerry Gilmer here in Kandahar, Afghanistan with the 223rd Engineer Battalion. I'd like to send a shout out to my parents, Harry and Janice Gilmer in Portage, Indiana, and my beautiful wife, Melinda, in Little Rock, Mississippi.
Hi, my name is Master Sergeant Douglas Neal. I'm with the CJTF-1, CJ7 Sergeant Major. I would like to say hi to my wife and my 3 boys back in Manhattan, Kansas, Darren, Irie, and Brandon. Gabi, I love you, and Dad will be home soon.
I'm Air Force Staff Sergeant Dejay Herrera, currently deployed to Bagram, Afghanistan, where I work at Craig Joint Theater Hospital as a diet therapy technician. I'd like to send a big shout out to my husband, Air Force Technical Sergeant Eddie Herrera, who's stationed at Creech Air Force Base. It's been a long road, babe. I love you, and I'll be home soon.
Coming up, 19 countries come together for the multinational exercise Eager Lion. And soldiers construct new homes from the ground up. Check out dvidshub.net for the latest accurate and reliable information as In the Fight continues. What year was the United States Army Special Forces officially formed? The answer when we return.
From combat-related stress to the day-to-day stressors of life.
This package is going to be completed.
This is the 4th time this week.
Stress can affect every Marine and Marine family. The De-Stress Line provides anonymous counseling for Marines and Marine families when it's needed most. If you're feeling the effects of stress, call today and let us help you win your personal battles.
The environment is my passion. Every day, I live for the outdoors and all of its challenges. That's why I enlisted in the Coast Guard. Now, I serve to protect the environment and defend my country. It's like I was born for this.
Were you born ready for a greater challenge? Find out at gocoastguard.com.
What year was the United States Army Special Forces officially formed? The answer is C, 1952. Recently, in the country of Jordan, Eager Lion became the largest multinational military exercise to take place in the Middle East in 13 years. Soldiers radio and television correspondent Gail McCabe files this report.
Maintaining calm and a safe environment is just one scenario in Eager Lion, an annual exercise designed around irregular warfare. Activities involving all aspects of civil and military capability. Things like taking care of internationally displaced persons in a refugee camp like this.
It's a very good idea. We are locating, unfortunately, in a turbulent area, and we have to be prepared, and we have to put our contingency plans to deal with such situation.
Eager Lion is hosted by the Hashemite Kingdom of Jordan in conjunction with U.S. Central Command's Special Operations Command. The 3-week event is a big deal. The goal is to connect military partners and enhance interoperability.
Back up and squeeze it in.
Participants represent 19 countries from 5 continents. Approximately 12,000 military personnel are in attendance.
I think the real payoff is in the fact that we'll develop partnerships and relationships that will put us in good stead should we ever have to work together in the future.
Eager Lion has been 3 years in the planning. Coordination is ongoing for next year's exercise. Gail McCabe, Jordan.
In remote regions of the Horn of Africa, building supplies are not easy to come by. But as Navy Petty Officer Jeremy Brandt explains, the 490th Civil Affairs Battalion is up to the challenge in constructing new homes from the ground up.
Villagers living in Karabti-San, Djibouti continue construction of an ecodome with the help of the 490th Civil Affairs Battalion, assigned to Combined Joint Task Force Horn of Africa. An ecodome is a durable form of housing which requires little maintenance.
Well, the idea is to build something that the community can build themselves. So it's tough to find materials that you can build a durable structure out of. But the great thing about this construction is that it's made, with 90% dirt. And so the other materials are cement and barbed wire, which are more readily available in this part of the world.
The construction materials needed to build the ecodome were donated by non-government organizations. The village is supplying most of the manpower, and the civil affairs teams providing guidance, assistance, and partnership.
If we use it as a school or clinic, either one will be perfect for us.
Once completed, this ecodome will serve as a model for future domes throughout the Horn of Africa.
I personally didn't have any idea how difficult the task would end up being, but I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Reporting from Combined Joint Task Force Horn of Africa, I'm Petty Officer Jeremy Brandt.
Before they can sit in the cockpit, pilots must be able to withstand the forces that come with flying some of the military's most complex aircraft. Senior Airman Tori Fleck introduces us to a wing of the Air Force that's all about making people uncomfortable.
Captain Amanda Burnett fine-tunes and maintains the most complex and valuable assets in the U.S. Air Force, the people. This medical professional works in the Aerospace Physiology Office at Seymour Johnson Air Force Base, and her job is critically important.
I mean, our job is basically, if you want to look at it, kind of human performance enhancement, whether it's on the ground or up in the air, so that they know how to deal with different, drawbacks that we have just being human.
She and her office work for the entire wing and spread awareness of the importance of the human factors of health, things like diet, fatigue, or even stress. But her main concern is air crew members and the unique problems that they run into.
Yeah, humans are designed to be on the ground, move in 2 dimensions, 1G, and when you throw us up in the air, our bodies kind of don't like that too much. So
they have all types of training tools to prepare air crew members for what they'll run into in the sky, including
our bear in each area. It's definitely a favorite of air crew members. not so much. We spin them in that chair 3 consecutive days, 3 times each day for 10 minutes a spin, and we have them move around, look up, look down, check 6, different maneuvers, just to simulate what they would maybe experience in the aircraft, and that helps them get acclimated.
They also have flight simulators that suck the oxygen out of the aircrew's aviator masks to simulate a condition called hypoxia.
Hypoxia is just a lack of oxygen to blood cells and tissues that causes an impairment of function.
Any of you guys ever experienced hypoxia in the aircraft? Hypoxia affects people differently, from confusion all the way to passing out. This training is vital because it tests the aircrew on the ground, which is much safer, instead of in their upwards of $60 million jets that travel at breakneck speeds and high altitudes. From Seymour Johnson Air Force Base, I'm Senior Airman Tori Fleck.
The F-16 plays a vital role in supporting ground forces throughout Afghanistan. Airman Jimmy Moreland brings us this story about the crew chiefs of the South Carolina Air National Guard and what all goes into keeping the F-16 in the sky.
These airmen of the South Carolina Air National Guard are a long way from home. They're here at Kandahar Airfield, Afghanistan, making sure these F-16 jet fighters stay in flying condition.
Anything that's broke, we'll fix it and do ops checks on everything, which is just checking out to make sure everything from the landing gear works to lights, everything like that. And then we just put it all back together and send it out back to flight line so it can fly.
It's a lot of different backstops involved. You got weapons, avionics, ammo, crew chiefs, engines. A lot of people put together to make the jet fly.
The guardsmen do the same job here that they do at their home station in South Carolina, but the crew chiefs feel their work is even more important out here.
It sits in the back of your mind knowing that it's going to go do its main job. It might have to pull more G's than normal, so you tighten that screw just a little bit more.
It makes you feel like, you're being more productive as opposed to back home, just all training missions. Here, you feel a little more accomplished. What you're doing means a lot.
These airmen will keep their jets ready to fly over the skies of Afghanistan until they return home to South Carolina. Airman Jimmy Moreland, Kandahar Airfield, Afghanistan.
Hi, I'm Specialist Stephen Bridesheft here with ADT 6 here in Finley Shields, Afghanistan. I want to give a shout out to my wife and daughter back in St. Louis, Missouri. I love you, baby.
Corporal Daniel Faircloth, 2nd Battalion, 9th Marines, Afghanistan. I'd like to make a shout out to all my family and friends from Las Vegas, Nevada.
Hi, I'm Army Major Pat Contino, assigned to Task Force Med East here at Bagram Airfield, Afghanistan. I'd like to say hello to my wife, Nina, and my 2 boys, Nick and Gabe. I love you and I miss you.
Coming up, an Afghan athlete prepares for the Summer Olympics. And we'll showcase some of the best photos from our service members as In the Fight, presented by Divots, continues. What is the unofficial nickname for the F-16 Fighting Falcon? The answer when we return.
With the new Military 24/7 app from Divots, you turn your favorite mobile device into a window to the front lines. Connect with your nation's finest men and women through our video and photography archives and stay up to date with news reported directly from service members. Quickly share information and breaking stories with friends via Facebook, Twitter, or email. News, photos, video. Your military 24/7.
Training is about more than muscle. It's about inner strength. So I push myself. That's why I serve in the United States Coast Guard. I train with the best, a team that shares my drive and commitment. We collect intelligence, guard our shores against drug smugglers, and keep our waterways safe, because our nation expects more.
If you expect more, maybe you were born ready. Find out at gocoastguard.com.
From combat-related stress to the day-to-day stressors of life.
This package is going to be completed.
This is the 4th time this week.
Stress can affect every Marine and Marine family. The De-Stress Line provides anonymous counseling for Marines and Marine families when it's needed most. If you're feeling the effects of stress, Call today and let us help you win your personal battles.
What is the unofficial nickname for the F-16 Fighting Falcon? The answer is D, Viper. The man in Businessman rings especially true to the people of Afghanistan. Throughout most of the country, women are not allowed to work. Army Sergeant Rachel Badgley takes us to a town in eastern Afghanistan where progressive steps are being taken to change that.
Today we are here for an exhibition of women's handicraft and food products.
Women gathered in a rose garden selling their wares is not a typical occurrence in Afghanistan.
You will see 30 women who have received training on business setup, bookkeeping, customer service, marketing, and so on. Women display their products, and then their mentors and trainers are basically there and see their customer service skills and bargaining skills and so on. And then they note the weaknesses. When they go back, they will remind them and train them on how to be successful business owners.
While this bazaar was held in a secure compound for the women's exhibit, a typical market in Afghanistan is composed of rougher edges and men's faces.
We rarely see women in the shops in the main market. One of the topics of discussion was the Dawa has recently acquired some land that she hopes to make a women's market in order for these female entrepreneurs to go and sell their wares over there.
The exhibit today was the third of 4 quarterly exhibits organized by the Regional Afghan Municipalities Program for Urban Population.
I say that we cannot solve the problems of these women merchants who are working hard to provide food for themselves as well as their families by having speeches, exhibitions, and ribbon cuttings. We must actualize what they are saying here. This is the way we will have a prosperous future and strengthen the economics of women merchants.
Although plans have not been finalized for the women's market, this could be a sustainable option for Afghan women's economic growth. Army Sergeant Rachel Badgley, Parwan Province, Afghanistan.
When Afghanistan had been ruled by the Taliban, sports of any kind were banned throughout the country. Since then, sports has returned, and Afghanistan has sent athletes to the 2004 and 2008 Olympic Games. NATO Channel correspondent David Heathfield profiles an Afghan athlete preparing for this year's Summer Games.
Crouched at the starting line, a sprinter awaits the signal to go. After a few steps, he stops running and returns to the starting point. This is Afghan sprinter Masood Azizi, and he is practicing for the perfect start to his races in the London Olympics this year.
Every athlete wants to take part in the London Olympic Games, and I feel very happy that I'm taking part. I will try my best to return to Afghanistan with achievements because Afghanistan have endured a long war and has suffered a lot. I want peace and stability in my country, and I will do my best to rise up the Afghan flag on the world stage.
He comes from a loving family which, he explains, has always been a sporting one.
My 2 brothers were champions on this field previously. I was always going to watch them run. I was entrusted and encouraged by them, and so I followed these footsteps. Finally, I ended up as a runner and become the top-ranked runner in Afghanistan.
Being an athlete here in the past was not always easy, but things seem to be looking up.
The main problems and concerns of athletes in the past were the lack of security, because they were always scared to play the sport. They were always thinking of possible suicide attacks and more. Even inside the stadium, we were not feeling safe and were scared all the time. Fortunately, the security is better now, and the president of the Olympic Committee has enabled opportunities for athletes, and we are having better security. Security has a positive impact on the morale of the athletes.
Afghan athletes such as Masood and his fellow Olympic hopeful Tamina Koistani, also seen here, need support to chase their dreams.
Sport has brought a significant change in my personal life. Afghanistan is a poor country, but people are always trying to help the athletes. The Olympic Committee has always helped us financially. When we got back from the Beijing, we hadn't won anything, despite that President Hamid Karzai, along with the head of the Bayat Foundation, granted us some cash, saying it does not matter if you win or lose, your participation in the Beijing Games were worth it, and was an honor for the people of Afghanistan.
Masood will face some tough competition in the London Games, but he feels that he's prepared.
When I became the top-ranked runner in Afghanistan, we were running on cement tracks, and we didn't have computerized timers. We were using a stopwatch system. Initially, I was able to run on 100 meters in 12 seconds. But now, after hard work and training, I'm able to run it in 10.8 seconds. I'm well prepared for the London Olympic Games.
It's 2 months until the Games begin, and Masood will be doing his best to win glory for the people of Afghanistan. This is the NATO channel in Kabul, Afghanistan.
Divids is a 24/7 operation that provides a timely, accurate, and reliable connection between the media and the military serving worldwide. Through a network of over 200 portable satellite transmitters around the globe and a distribution hub in Atlanta, Georgia, Divids gives you access to the front lines with live and archived broadcast video, still imagery, and print products. Visit our website at dvidshub.net and search through our enormous video and photo library. Register on our website to gain complete access to high-definition content, along with breaking news alerts and webcasts from top military officials. For questions or comments about In the Fight or Divids, you can email us at ondemand@dvidshub.net or follow us on Twitter and Facebook. As we close, we feature some of the best photos that Divids has to offer, as we listen to Eddie Horst's composition, Pangea. See you next time, In the Fight.